Welcome to our channel! Ngayon, manunod kami ng documentary ni
Leigh-Anne. Race, Pop, and Power.
Documentary full version.
Papanoorin namin yun.
Hindi pa ako nito nakapanood, kaya ikaw.
Let's go! Hindi pa din. So, we're gonna
Watch
react and
this.
we're gonna watch. So,
Tignan na natin, guys! Excited ako! Oh my gosh! So excited because
They've sold over 45 million records worldwide.
talaga, totoo.
Nearly 10 years ago, my pop star dream became a reality.
Wow, pangarap talaga niya maging popstar, no? That moment.
I love it. I'm so grateful for this crazy roller coaster life.
Ang sikat, ang bilis nilang sumikat
But
talaga, guys.
sometimes, I felt I was being treated differently to my bandmates because of the colour of my skin.
oh.
Yun.
Because, to my bandmates, because of the color of my skin.
Ano siya?
Anong meron sa skin? Parehas lang naman tayo.
Maganda naman siya.
Ang ganda kaya ni Leigh-Anne.
Uy, wag kanyang ganyan. Uy.
Sino yung mga, dyan, ha?
Tawag to bully. Mga
Mga
bully.
bully kayo, ha?
Uy, maganda kayo si Leigh-Anne. Ay, kawawa naman as less talaga. Ang galing din niyang kumanta. Ba't kayo
It's
ganyan?
something I wanted to speak about for a long time, but I didn't think anyone was listening. Why do I feel
Kawawa
like
naman siya.
invisible? And for
Wait.
so long,
Feel
Ano yung sabi
invisible?
say to me, it's in your head.
Yung
It's
sabi
something
niya.
I wanted to speak about for a long time, but I didn't think anyone
But I didn't think anyone
Anyone
was
was
listening.
Hmm.
Why do I feel like
Oh, why do
Okay.
I feel like invisible?
Kasi nagsasalita siya, parang wala lang daw siya.
Why
Yan
do I
dyan
feel
naman
like
siya.
invisible? And for so long, people,
People
would say
say
to me, it's in
to
your
me,
head.
Isn't your head?
black
We
slave
have been in
Ang
love.
bastos, uy.
Now that's kind of like burst.
No.
I want to find out what I can do to fight the
Fight
racism and prejudice I see around me. It is always predominantly white.
Like
Always.
always.
To understand how the world
Ma-compare din siya
discriminates
sa white.
against dark-skinned black women. If I was 2 shades darker, would I be sat here right now?
Ma-ordered mas, ano talaga siguro kung naging black talaga siya na black. Buti na nga, naging ano pa siya. Tawag dito? Morena, mestiza,
Taking
ganyan.
the fight right to the top of the music business. I don't want it to just be a conversation. I don't want it to just be black square. Are
I
people
don't
ready to this conversation?
People ready for this conversation. Kasi ano, marami talagang bully sa kanya. Hindi naman siya maitim talaga,
Oo,
no?
hindi naman
Siguro
super,
kasi may blood siya na black. Kaya ganyan, oo. Kasi, ba't naman inaano din nila ang kulay?
Oo, anong meron sa kulay, guys?
Sa kulay.
Hindi ko alam, anong meron
Tao
talaga
din
sa
naman sila.
kulay?
Kami nga, pumuti lang dahil
May ring light.
wearing light. Just
Pero
like,
di ko talaga mag-gets yung mga tao. Kung bakit iyaano nila sa kulay. Parehas lang naman tayo. Tao.
kung tingnan nyo lang kaya ang puso at saka yung ano.
Wag na nating tingnan yung kulay, guys. Iano na natin yung ano.
Magkano din kayo eh, para tayong gwapa, ha?
There's a problem, let's address it. Let's all address it together.
Leigh-Anne.
Maglaban mo talaga, Leigh-Anne. Ay, ko, kulay lang yan. Dami namang gamit pampaputi dyan, pero pag
Pero gusto
kulay
ko
mo
talaga yung
talaga.
skin ni Leigh-Anne.
Mistisa kasi siya. You have to go through. Ano yan?
So today,
Sa ano yan? Sa ano nila yan?
For the album.
I love fashion, I love clothes.
Yeah.
The girls always say that
Jane.
this life was made for me. They think I'm bougie, but I'm really not.
I'm really not.
To be fair, I've always
also
wanted
got
that pop star life.
What did you do with your tongue?
Sige, John.
I'm not very cool with your tongue.
You're really good with your tongue. I always used to think that's not together, so.
Ay, naku, iwan ko sa'yo, James.
Ewan talaga.
Leigh-Anne, what are we doing today?
We are here shooting for our brand new campaign. We have so much fun.
Talaga, kasi yung mga friends niya, wala talagang
together. It's just
ano,
it's something
pinipili na
else.
kulay. Para kasi lang magkapatid na sila.
All is on me, so be a bee. On my face, on the sky, drop like confetti.
Siya nag-ano niyan?
Sila di ba yung
Kala ko siya lang ang ano niyan.
As a child,
Nag,
the only time
tawag
I
nito,
ever
Dam?
experienced
Siya yung nagsulat?
Compose, yung kanta ba? Kasi,
Di ko
iba
pa
yung
alam
kanta
kung
lang.
sino
So,
yung...
VIP. Diba? Something.
Di ko pa
ganun.
alam kung sino talaga yung nagsulat ng confetti.
Parang ang ganda din ng meaning kasi parang nakarelate siguro din siya ng ano, pisilian niya, no? Ang cute niya dyan.
was one time at primary school. A boy handed me a note that just said, name Leigh-Anne, age 9, from the jungle.
Ay, bastos.
I was
Jungle
devastated.
talaga.
I'd never been made to feel like I didn't belong before. It turned out I wouldn't be made to feel like that again until my life changed overnight a decade later.
Ano na pala siya niyan, di ba? Sinabihan kasi siya parang nasa jungle daw. Bastos.
The first girlfriend to win the X
It's
Factor.
just insane. Oh, we're so happy. Winning X Factor and becoming a pop star was everything I ever wanted. But before we'd even signed the record deal, things started to happen that now feel a bit off.
Oh, now I feel a
On
bit
the X
off
Factor,
then.
they dyed my hair red and shaved it. Made me look like the Rihanna. Like,
Bitaw.
Oh,
Wala-
yung na-shave yung
and
ano
I guess a
niya.
bit
Parang si Rihanna talaga din
Looking
siya.
back,
Kaya nga
it's
sinabi ko,
clear
parang
my
siyang si
color
Rihanna.
was being
find my
used.
image within the group. Those things, when I think back to it, I'm just like, wow. Then there was other stuff that started to happen, which made me feel different to the other girls. We did a radio tour, we got off a plane, and there was some fans standing waiting for us. I was the
First
first to kind of
to
walk up to them, and they just walked past me.
Aw,
Went to the other
so
girls.
Ay,
so sad naman.
Ano
Grabe
pa siya?
naman.
baliwala lang talaga siya,
Crying.
no?
Siya yung pinakaunang,
Nag-ano. Ano?
parang siya yung pinakaunang lumabas.
Oo,
Tapos
pero wala lang.
parang wala lang yung sa mga fans. Like, oh my God, I'm crying.
Charot.
Charot,
Uy,
I'm so
uy,
very
kaya mo
crying
yan,
talaga.
kaya mo yan. Kawawa
Like,
din kasi
what-
siya.
What the, ano ba
What's
kayo?
the color
What's
about?
Wait,
Yan.
what the F, Charot? Anong meron kung, di ba, black? Anong meron kung black si Leigh-Anne? Ano ba talaga? Mixers fans ba talaga kayo ng
Basher.
group nila? Or
Basher yun.
tatlo lang yung
Oo.
Kasi di kayo makakonsider na fans kayo ng
Mixer.
mixers kung meron kayong hate or meron kayong hindi gusto.
Sa isa sa apat.
Dapat,
Dapat fair.
kung gusto nyo sila, dapat lahat sila. Dapat sila lahat.
Kasi
gusto nyo.
sila nga,
Hindi yung-
nagtuturingan nga
oo,
sila na
oo.
magkapatid. Pero
Hindi yung binabaliwala nyo yung isa.
kakasakit kayo guys.
Nakakasakit,
Ganyan.
guys.
Hindi
Yung,
din maganda.
yung sa mga dunhan, yung parang binabaliwala lang si ano. So, hindi
Tao
niya
pa rin siya.
hindi niya pinapakita pero nafe-feel niya yun. Pero di niya sinasabi, mas okay yung nag-open nga siya dito eh.
Kaya nga, pang ano ba, open mind
Nakakairita yung mga ano ha.
mga tao talaga.
It was so weird. It was never like
Tignan
someone
natin.
racially abusing me. So we have 3 mega fans. It's just like little things that happen regularly.
So, like, first, which member of Little Mix are you most like?
I'm all like Perry, Jade. I see Jessie. She's got a really cool, like, edgy style.
Then si ano, wala.
Oh, it's fine. Oh, so sad. Kung ako yung last na tinanong, siguro
Dalawa ang
sasabihin ko
pipiliin
na
ko.
dalawa yung pipiliin ko.
Kasi tatlo lang sila.
Oo.
Alam naman natin na may fans.
Sinasabi niyang it's okay pero deep inside, she's hurt.
Totoo,
She's hurt.
masakit talaga kasi yung
hurting.
akala mo, apat kayo eh. Isa kayo eh.
Mm-mm.
Pero
Tapos,
pag ano pala,
mm-mm.
naiiwan ka.
Pero ang sakit pa rin, pag ako talaga yung sa last, pag ako yung pipiliin ko yung dalawa para hindi
It's a tie.
para
Walang
it's a
ano.
tie. Ay nako, nakakaano yung ibang
All of these little feelings, you can imagine, they just built up. And it was,
Yung mukha niya talaga upset na upset.
and you can't pretend like it's not happening. Feeling invisible, feeling like people will just look past me. For the next decade, I was in a pop bubble with all the success I'd ever dreamt of. It's been back-to-back albums, tours, awards, and video shoots.
No, This is insane. Oh my god.
Ma-overwhelm talaga siya pag mga ganyan, no?
Biggest girl band in the world.
Even the
I
base
have
girl
a
in the
fiance.
world. They have
We
babies.
have a lovely house. It's like, what have you got to be upset about? But all of that stuff doesn't matter. And all that matters is that feeling, and that feeling that just doesn't go away. Like, it keeps hurting and hurting. And wondering, is it my colour? Like, all these questions. Pushing
Yeah.
myself constantly to do better. Because I just wanted to
Ang politika yun
be
ni
on that same
Leigh-Anne.
level.
Oo,
And it's like, nothing I did would get me there.
Sobrang pretty ni Leigh-Anne. Tapos ang ganda ng skin. Pero
nawa ako sa kanya, oy, kasi marami na daw sila. May fiancé siya, happy life na kunwari, tas may bahay na sila, may gamit, something ganyan, pero kulang pa din eh, kasi parang
parang
pag
di
sa-
siya ano pa rin. Parang di siya,
di siya
parang
belong
feeling
sa
niya
group.
parang di siya ano,
ganon.
parang hindi pa siya inaano ng
Talaga
mga
naisip
tao,
niya,
hindi
what's
pa siya
in my
tanggap,
color,
o
di ba?
Anong meron sa color niya?
Bakit ganyan? Bayan, oy.
In March 2020, we flew to Brazil to do a show.
Excited siya niyan. Pero ma-upset na din naman siya niyan. Ay,
So we landed, and from that moment, it was
advance na eh.
crowds going mad for me, and I was like, wow, like I've never
Seen
seen or heard anything like it. There was so many black people in our audience.
Kaya palang daming
Kaya,
sumisigaw sa kanya
Leigh-Anne
kasi
kasi
mga
support.
daming ding black
Oo.
people na
Support sa
Yung
kanya,
nag-support
na
sa
mga
kanya.
black people din.
oo. Sa Brazil, parang sa Brazil lang niya
Oo.
na-feel yung parang welcome siya, yung parang,
Talang sinisigaw talaga pangalan niya.
oo.
Leigh-Anne, Leigh-Anne, ganun.
oh my God. So, kawawa naman ni Leigh-Anne.
I have never felt that
Oh,
love.
that love. First time niyang nakuan,
I've
I
never
never
felt
so
so
accepted.
accepted.
First time niya na ano sa Brazil.
After that, I saw that maybe race did have a part to play in how I was feeling, but so many questions I was too scared to ask before.
I think I drink too much. No, I think too much.
The pandemic has forced us to cancel our tour dates, so I've now got the time I need to start really looking at my identity and the world around me. My parents are my rock, and over the years, they're the only people I felt I could talk to about how I was feeling.
Yung mama niya.
Wow.
Hindi naman masyadong black yung mama at papa niya, di ba? Sakto lang.
Seen any
Siguro
of these
sa mga
pictures.
kaano nila, lolo.
My mum is half Bayesian, and my
Ah,
dad's
ganda
half
ng mama
Jamaican.
niya, no?
Both their dads arrived here in
Hindi
the
naman
60s,
sila
and
maitim,
as a
no?
family,
Ang
we're really
ano
proud
lang
of our
taga niya,
Caribbean heritage.
Caribbean heritage. Ah, so sa grand pa siya kasi black. Hindi naman din black masyado. Eh.
That wouldn't have gone down well at all.
So you're both mixed race. I mean, did you say you identify as black?
I'm black as far as I'm concerned. We grew up in a black culture, so therefore we listened to black music, we cooked West Indian food. That was a culture at home. It was a West Indian house.
This is my thing. So like when people say things, I'll be mixed race, and it's like, but I've always said that I do identify as black. Like I don't really bother saying mixed race.
Because even if you're mixed race, you're not white. You
Mixed
will
race.
suffer from racism. So
I mean, you do identify as black.
you don't like to be
I
identified.
like to identify myself as John Pennell. That's who I am.
That's what you've done growing up as well. Like you haven't let your
Hindi naman black yung
Yeah.
ano niya, yung
Never let
parents, diba?
us
Kasi ano siya, naku-curious talaga siya sa mga tao dahil daming sinasabi about black kasi. At hindi naman niya ma-deny na
But
black
in the
siya.
West, but there's nothing we
Kasi
can do about
nasa
that.
blood nila.
We just have to get on.
So when I came to you guys crying, upset, because I felt
No,
lost, invisible,
Felt lost and
what was your
sad.
initial thought?
At the time, I thought to myself, Leah, toughen up.
get yourself together. You're in a good position.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
moan.
talaga.
Don't moan about it.
Now I realise life is
Not
not
having
having
loads of money.
loads of money or
Correct,
this and
correct.
that. If you're not
If you're
feeling
feeling
right
like it.
with yourself, you're not going to feel right, are you?
Yeah. You would all say that to me. You would be like, look where you are. You're still earning the same money. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I.
Yeah. Pero ano
But
rin
I'm going to get ups.
Kasi hindi niya ma-deny sa sarili
Don't cry,
niya.
yeah.
Ay, kawawa siya, oy.
Come on, yeah. Oh, come on.
Iyak ko, umiyak.
Like,
Kawawa ni
never
Leigh-Anne.
ever feeling good enough.
Ah,
I feel
never
like
feeling
it
good
ruined
enough.
A lot of my experience. It should have been the best time of my life.
Yeah.
It's just fucking frustrating.
I know. It's
Uh-oh.
it's hard, but it's hard for us to make you realise it's not because you know that you're not as good as them, because you are, which is sad, really. But
Yeah, but this is what
We
our
accepted
parents
it.
would have
Yeah.
said, yeah. Oh, just get on with it. Stop being silly. So we're doing the same thing. But I can see,
now, exactly.
yeah,
And what's difficult would be what could we have said to have made you feel better?
yeah.
Exactly. I think when we figured out what it was, that probably just made me feel worse because I was like, oh great, now what? Like, what do I do now? Well, I can't hide the fact that I'm black. Like, and my situation is minuscule compared to what is actually going on in this world, like to black people.
But you can use your voice and your experiences to help other people.
Other people.
To let other people know that things are going to change.
Yeah. Kay gamito niya yung pagkasikat, di ba? Kaya ma-influence man siya na tao.
May influensya man siya. So,
Kasi may power din siya. Sikat
kasi
sila.
sikat siya. Buti na lang talaga
US,
ginamit
there's been
yung
violence
buti na lang talaga ginamit ni Leigh-Anne yung ano niya, yung power niya kasi
Yeah.
sikat din siya sa industry. So,
Oo.
para maano din yung mga tao,
Ma-aware
may
sila
aware din yung
ba
mga
na
tao na
wag naman
wag niyo
mag-bully.
namang i-discriminate or i-bully yung mga black people kasi tao din sila.
Tao din
guys.
sila, oy, nasasaktan sila.
Wala yan sa color, nasa puso yan. Wag din yung
Uy, ang bait
Police
kaya din ni
protesters
Leigh-Anne.
in Minneapolis following the death of George Floyd.
George Floyd
yun,
yung
yun,
sa ano,
Black American na tao.
With the police
Kasi
officers
inano nila.
Cellphone video
Kita
of the
pala
arrest
niya.
shows him handcuffed and pleading for air.
Being a black person and watching that,
Grabe kasi din yung kay George Floyd.
myself,
Ay, ano?
my
George,
daughter,
basta.
Yung ano, black
it's like
Yung,
American.
sir, I can't breathe, pero inano pa rin nung police.
Kaya yun, namatay, no?
Mm.
Kung nagalit din talaga ako nun eh.
Kaya nga,
Bastos.
nakakainis din talaga.
Kaya,
I feel like I am in
porque
quite a
black,
unique
anong
position.
meron sa black? Diyos ko ninyo.
Being
Kayo kaya
a
naging
black
black.
girl in the pop industry with a predominantly white fan base, I do feel like I have a responsibility to speak up. I can use my voice to try and do something.
Kaya, yan.
Hi everyone. Firstly, I just want to send my condolences to George Floyd's family and all the other families that have lost someone due to police brutality and racism. There comes a point in every black human's life, no matter how much money you have or what you have achieved,
When
you
you
realize
realize,
racism does
Leader
not
black
exclude
talaga,
you.
hindi nagmamato.
You learn to
Ano ba yan?
understand you can't be seen to be too
Huli lang
loud
yan.
or too opinionated, otherwise you're deemed a diva or aggressive. Our reality is no matter how far you think you have come, racism exists. It exists in sports, in the creative industries, in politics and policies, in the streets and in the hearts of racist individuals. We are no longer in a position where we need to be quiet on this matter.
Oo, talaga. Hindi na yan pwede na manahimik lang sila. Uy, kawawa sila lahat ng mga black kung ganyan.
Now the time to speak up properly about
ang
it.
gwapo ng ano niya, no? Fiancé.
Not really hold back.
Yun
Ang
lang.
gwapo ng fiancé.
But if you read enough comments, you see people say
People
that
say that
you
you
should
should
just shut up about it. You know what I mean?
you know.
And be happy
Ano,
with
advice
how
din
far
ng
you've
kanyang
come.
ano ba na.
Like your country or the world
Yeah.
can't
Di na lang
erase
siya
because
manood at
where
saka
you are now.
Magbasa ng mga
magbasa ng mga
comments.
comments kasi ano talaga siya masyado ma-frustrate talaga niya.
And whatever. That's just
Pabayaan na lang pero ano kasi
Something like
Sobra
this,
na.
speaking about race, I get scared. Am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to offend someone? But it's like,
yeah, I probably will say the wrong thing. Like, I'm human. I'm still on this journey. I'm still learning.
totoo.
Still flying. But I'd rather say something, say it maybe not entirely right, than say nothing. It doesn't matter if you're a pop star or a professional footballer like Andre.
Professional footballer kasi din yung ano.
The world is waking up, and we're determined to be a part of it.
I've never been to a protest before. I'm not putting the bandana on. I'm not. Andre wants me to match him.
So cute.
You think I was already married, didn't you? Jesus.
Nasa ano
sila.
sa rally. Sumama siya sa...
Well, thousands. Yeah.
Mga white naman ang nagsigaw nga eh.
Nobody has really wanted to speak about race.
Marami
in the
din
pop
na
bubble
gano'n.
I've been living in.
Si ano din eh, yung favorite
I want to
ano
hear
ko
what
din
others
sa
think I can do
mga
to
white siya
actually
pero
help this fight.
nag-protest din siya sa...
So you
Kasi
guys
nga
know that I'm
equal,
in
wag
How do you
ganyan.
think I need to use my platform?
You have to come and support. You need to be on the streets. You need to be doing everything that you can. This isn't just about you. Education is
Totoo.
key. Yeah, we should find the
Hindi lang
experts. Yeah,
talaga.
wait for it to come to you.
Ano sila, nag-reunite talaga siya. Mga
The
ganyan.
people around you.
Kasi pag di nyo pinaalam yan, parang kawawa talaga. Lahat ng black. Kasi para silang nakakita ng basahan. Parang ganyan lang. Diyos ko, tao yun eh. Kailangan din silang talaga, totoo, ma-educate ba?
Kaya
Oo. Magiging open-minded sila ba sa tao? Hindi
You know
naman.
what I mean? So just keep doing what you're doing because it means the most.
What the girls in the march said really struck me. If I'm going to speak up on this, I need to educate myself.
If your name sounds British rather than African or Asian, you're more likely to get the job interview. It's as simple as that.
Just because I'm black, I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on different types of racism or knowing what the solutions are.
Unconscious bias are unintentional, deeply ingrained, and we all have them.
The internet's been flooded with people educating each other and explaining different terminology.
Maganda talaga ma-educate kasi parang wala nang mga salbahe na talaga lahat. Makatreat parang
This is just really new for me. Since I got put into the
Nantok
group,
tuloy yung
I
aso
feel
niya.
like I've been in, not a cage for 9 years, but I haven't, as much as I've felt my experiences, I haven't actually explored any of this. Like, all I really know is my own experiences. So very proud of Leigh-Anne, and I know how much this hurt you then.
I cannot believe the response since posting my Insta video.
I feel you so much, here for you always.
Share ng video niya.
One blast from the past who got in touch was the choreographer for our first Little Mix video.
First
Frank
ano nga
Jackson,
nila yung
who's
sa
Beyonce's
wing.
creative director, left a comment that's really touched me.
We were just in rehearsals, and it was quite a militant way of working.
Nobody needs to help you but your
We were also nervous, and he just turned to me and he just said, "You're the black girl. You're gonna have to work 10 times harder."
Oh, what? You're the black girl and you're going to have
10 times harder.
work 10 times harder.
Anong meron? Gagos.
What?
Grabe, mag-discriminate. Uy,
Porque
black?
black,
Anong meron?
kailangan
Mag-ano?
work 10 times harder
Anong,
para maan.
ano nila? Tawag
Ay,
nito?
I didn't really
Akala sa
understand it at the time.
black.
But that comment 9 years ago has
Janitor?
really stuck with me.
10 times mag-work?
So I'm really intrigued to speak to Frank.
Mga bastos.
Hi. I want to know what made him say that to me. You haven't
Oh,
changed
ito
a bit,
yung
you look
ito
younger.
yung
Yun
lalaki
yung
na nag-ano sa kanya.
sabi
Yung
sa kanya na mag-work siya ng 10
mag-work
times.
siya 10 times harder.
Harder.
3 years ago na.
Let us
I saw the comment that you left on my Instagram as well. Like, thank you for reaching out. I just want to know why you felt like you had to say I would have to work harder because I'm a black girl. What was you kind of thinking at the time? Like, why did you think it was so important to tell me?
Yan, prangkahan mo.
I just saw myself.
I saw
Huh?
The little brown girl
sitting over there, you know, really nervous. Like,
it's a white
world, you know, and I gotta make her know the secret. We gotta be the best. We gotta walk right. We gotta sing right. We gotta work right. We gotta, you know, the choreography better. We gotta do everything to be the best that we can be. Because for so many years, people always look at us as less.
Murag gi-inspired ra gud siguro siya na
So, lahi lang niya pagsabot. I don't know.
ikuan siya na mas basta ka nang mas mo
improve pag
ikuan
siya
niya para makuan niya yung
para
kaugalingon na basta ka na murag ikuan siya ba murag ikuan siya sa lalaki kay murag black pud siguro ang lalaki ba
Oh, black daw siya.
murag
Nakarelate
nakuan
daw
na pud siya nakarelate na pud siya so
because he's black. But
murag
in the way nga na negative ang pagsabot ni Leigh-Anne sa
nakuan
kanya.
siya,
Yung ibang intindi ni Leigh-Anne kasi yung time emotional siya. Uy, kaya
kasi
parang naano
black
din
ka
si
so
Leigh-Anne.
dapat mag-hard
black
10
yun na,
times
mag-hard
harder
10 times ano
sakit,
yun.
ang sakit din.
Ibang intindi niya. So, ganito nga in-explain
niya para maano si Leigh-Anne.
So, paano pala yun? Encouragement, something. Pero,
should I give you understand
We have to be the best that we can be. You know, because we're representing our race. Man, you know, I'm just curious. When I said what I said to you, what did you think at that moment?
Really?
If I'm completely honest, I thought it was a little bit rude. 'Cause I didn't understand it. And I think I nervously laughed, like, huh? It's just crazy how it was so alien. Because I've never ever been told that. Like, my parents never ever said to me, you're gonna need to work harder. Like, they never ever brought my race into it.
Because
I found
he's
out
black.
for myself.
Oh, she's
Because
black,
I wasn't
diba?
prepared for what was gonna happen after you said that.
Iba talaga pag ma-confront mo yung
Today
nagsabi
I'm back in the
mo.
studio to record my parts for our
Murag
6th
ikuan lang
album.
niya para mas maningkamot siya.
Not because kuan.
Okie dokie.
So, he didn't mean nga she's black, that's why he worked
Di
harder.
ko alam niya na mas mukuan
Encourage.
siya.
He encouraged black.
Encourage.
Hindi lang talaga niya na-explain masyado kasi dinirect niya eh. Yan pala yan.
At least ngayon, di ba?
Oo, alam na niya.
Yan now.
Oo, ginalingan masyado.
Love that last line. That was so good.
Since posting my Insta video, loads of different people have been getting in touch. Keisha from the Sugar Babes sent me a voice note.
Keisha from Sugar Babes. Ito yung shinout out nila na ano, di ba? Sa ano nila, yung nanalo sila sa British. Kasi Sugar Babes, parang ano din yun sila, girl group din. Ang daming nag-ano sa kanya, nag-message. Na mga black,
na-inspire sa kanya.
Lalo na yun sa mga grupo na sila din yung mga black.
Many of them have been speaking out as well. I want to hear their experiences face to face to help decide how I can use my platform in this fight. As well as Keisha from the Sugar Babes, I've invited Alexandra Burke, who also made an Insta video.
I got told, right, you can't have braids, you can't have an afro, you can't have anything that basically is my identity.
R&B soul artist Neo.
I hadn't really seen someone that looked like me.
And singer-songwriter Ray, whose video of a black friend being refused entry to a restaurant went viral.
You let my white friend in, and you don't allow a black friend in.
Is it black? Hello. Bastos, no? Pinapasok niya ang white, pero ang kaibigan niyang black hindi pinapasok. So, sabi niya, it's racist. Racism, something yun. Parang bastos ba? Sa restaurant.
I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness just saying. But yeah, thank you for being here. I've been in my group for like 9 years, and for so long I thought people would say to me, it's in your head, and I started to think, okay, maybe it is. So maybe I'll do whatever I can to improve my vocals. I'll make sure I speak more in interviews. do whatever I have to do to better myself, because whatever's going on now, it's not good enough. So I need to be better. And then it still wasn't enough. Why do I feel like invisible? Why do I feel like the least favoured, the least desired? Like, I just want to know, like, is that racist, or like, is it in my head?
Well, it's obviously not. Some people don't realise that they are being racist, and I think that like people don't realise that they have like racist thoughts or ideas, but like they've been conditioned to be like, well, black isn't beautiful, or that person's not really like given much to this scenario, so I'm just going to ignore them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's unconscious, and for the most part, it's not intentional. It's just what we've all been taught. Racism is such a horrible word. Nobody wants to think they're racist. And it does take, like, you know, people to kind of like look into themselves and just be like, actually, I have thought that, you know.
How do we play our part to change this? Like, sometimes you feel like you can't speak about these things.
It's very British, though. We're taught not to talk about it. It's like it's something. It's such a taboo subject. People are afraid to admit that they've done something that is considered racism, and you may not have meant it. Okay. Like, I know there's not all bad in people. I really believe that everyone's got good in them. Like, I remember when my mum used to take me to certain management companies. I won't name them now because they're still friends, and that's all good, and it's all love. But when I was 15, they told me and said, "We've got one black person, we can't have another." And I got that a couple of times. And one thing that's like actually comes to my head right now is being told to bleach my skin.
Oh.
And being told that I'm
Kaya
too
pala
dark
mas
to be
nilight
bleached and go cold talking about it, because I really actually don't like talking about it.
Kaya sinadya talaga niya no na
Because you won't
magputi.
sell any records.
Kahit black siya.
That's what's so fucked up about this industry, and that's what makes me feel at times where I go, I don't want to be in this
Oh,
industry.
di naman
I
siya
don't want to
no.
be in this
You know, they took my confidence away so much that I couldn't be me.
By the way,
Grabe din
Brand
talaga
new
yung
girls
mga
and
black
black girls
no?
can sell records.
Hindi
That's because it's
tatanggapin
been
pag
proven.
black.
They're kind of being brainwashed to think, no, this is what works. And she's like, oh, so we're just going to ignore Lauryn Hill or Mary J. Blige, or oh, we're just going to pretend that whole era didn't happen. No. We're all amazing, different shades. I wasn't planning to say this, but when I was about to exit the group, Sugar Babes, I don't know if many people know, but I didn't actually leave. I was replaced while still being like in the band. And I remember being sat down and I was basically told, you know, this person feels bullied, that one there feels bullied, this one. And I was like, I was giving that one a foot massage legit like the day before. You know, if I had an opinion, you know, it was very much like, okay, you're being a bully. And that was the word. That whole situation changed the course of my life. It affected me emotionally, mentally, financially. I have like confidence issues, and just feeling like the whole time like I couldn't have an opinion in the workplace, and it's taken me years to recover, and I'm still in the process with therapy and things like that.
Actually, it's funny because you see an independent, strong black woman, all of a sudden you are an aggressive woman, you're overconfident, and nobody wants to talk to you. And I know so many women within this industry who are writers, producers, go through the same thing.
Do you feel like if I was dark skinned, I'd be in Little Mix?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're
You're
right in the
leader
middle of pop music. You are in a as white as it gets environment. Like, because I visually don't look black, I can hide it. And I've been hiding it. Subconsciously, when people know me now and look up my songs now, I make dance music. But when I signed my record deal, I was an R&B artist. I used to make beats. I used to sing 4-part harmonies. I grew up in church. I was so connected to my black culture and my heritage, and I was so excited to put music out. And I was told, no, this isn't going to work. It's not. There's no place for it. It won't work. You can't do that. You have to embrace the white in you, suppress the black in you. That's how I felt. It's a tricky thing to even say out loud, because I'm grateful for that opportunity, but the fact is, I felt like I didn't have a choice.
You know what the tricky thing is as well? You know, to answer your question, yeah, I feel like you definitely, if they were looking for a minority, they were looking for a minority to be in it to sell records, because you know what, let's be honest with you, it makes it a little bit more cooler. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you had like a couple of white managers like in a room and they wanted to throw someone of colour in, of course, being mixed race, the more you look like a white person is more acceptable, palatable. I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but I definitely, you were chosen for your blackness.
Do you feel that way? I'm still kind of like struggling to
talk about it in general.
Okay. So the fact that it comes down to the token black girl, like you do see it in other girl bands, like it's kind of like a sort of, not a trend, but it's happened so often. I feel like today was like a bit of therapy. Like I think everyone kind of just was so open.
Nag-share kasi sila kaya parang naano siya eh.
Keisha,
Nagka-ano
I'm
sila.
shocked. It makes me think more into the fact that there are so few dark-skinned females right now in the music industry. What is it about dark-skinned women that they don't deem it to be marketable? It really does make me think, like, if I was some shades darker, would I be sat here right now? Like, I don't know. Discrimination against people with darker skin, especially within the same ethnic group, is called colorism. There's a lot of discussion about it within the black community.
Why is it that the lighter you are, the easier it is for you to get a job? The lighter you are, the more beautiful. This is a narrative.
Lighter skinned people are put higher than darker skinned people. Period.
Yun lang.
Babe, can
Dahil
you feed
puti
the
sila.
dogs since we go, please? Andre and I had only been going out for a couple of months when some offensive tweets he'd written years before we met were picked up by the press. He wrote them 8 years ago, and I know now that those tweets were a blatant example of colorism. I will never know what it feels like to be a dark-skinned woman, but seeing those tweets really made me feel a bit sick, and I was really upset.
Oo,
I was
kasi
just
yung
like,
mga comments in
who is this person? Like, this is horrible. Because that wasn't the person that I knew. When they surfaced, my heart sank. So I was just like, that is not the person that I met. It just it sounds like a child, like a silly child. Like,
This is what happens when your kids are not. You do become a product of your environment. So whatever you are around every day, and you're not educated on it or exposed to why it's wrong or whatever, then it kind of sticks.
but still though, to have those
Yeah, no, of
views
course,
at that
there's
time.
no excuse at all. When it all came out and stuff, like, so obviously I was embarrassed, ashamed, disappointed. Same time I had to be a man about it. I've made that mistake and I've learned and I've educated myself and grew up to understand how offensive and how wrong it was what I did.
Na
I
maka-open
didn't
sa
understand
tao ba?
racism really when I was young. We were used to diss each other and whatever. There's never obviously any malice in it, but again, it's not obviously an excuse in it. Being from a Jamaican heritage, it's a tough one. I think it's maybe a bit of self-hate, whatever.
Well, at the time, for yourself.
Nah, I think it was a black thing. I think it happens now, still in Jamaica. People don't want to be dark skinned in Jamaica a lot of the time. There's a lot of bleaching and whatever going on, and it's not cool to be. It's cool to be lighter. You pick up on these things as well. You know what I mean? Maybe it was easy for a light skinned person like myself to joke about it.
Because it's like, how would you feel if someone said that about, I don't know, like your cousin, your auntie, or like, I don't know, we could have a child and it come out darker than us. Like, you just don't know, do you? Like, that sort of view on dark-skinned women especially, there is a lot of anger and there is a lot of, a bit like, I'd say trauma. Because those views that you might have had back then, like, adds to the way that dark-skinned women are viewed. This whole thing about light-skinned girls being prettier or whatever. It's almost like people probably are being conditioned to think that, because you're seeing it everywhere. You're hearing it in music. You're seeing it in magazines. Don't you feel there's something in that? the more you see something, the more you hear
Big
something,
deal sa gawa sa mga
that's just what
kuan.
you know and what you
Mga
think.
color.
And
Big deal
dark
kasi
skinned people are just
Deal
not
sila ang
represented.
color. Anong meron? Dito pag makita tayo, tingin lang, hindi magsalita ng ano. Anong meron sa itim? O itim lang siya.
I feel like at
Pero
every
kung magaling
point,
kay ganyan kagaling, siguro hindi na yan
The other
maano.
week when I went in for work,
Pero sila iba, talagang
2 days
nagmamatter
in a
sila
row,
sa color.
I was doing shoots and I
Hindi
walked
yan.
in and there
Hindi nila
wasn't
tinignan.
a
Ganun.
one person of colour working.
Mahirapan daw maghanap ng trabaho yung
Oo.
mga black people.
Oo.
Just like,
Kasi laging tinatanggap
I would
nila
never have
maputi
noticed that
na
before.
kahit mas magaling
I just-
sila.
it
Kasi black,
baffled
hindi
me.
tinanggap. Discolored. May
Because it's
ganun.
not right. It shouldn't be predominantly white when the music industry is fueled by hip hop and R&B. I'm not where I am today to do nothing about this.
Sexy ni Leigh-Anne.
Oo eh.
Well, we're
Pitch
joined
na
now
pitch
by
siya.
Little Mix's Leigh-Anne Pinnock.
This is the first time in my life that the whole world is speaking about racism. We need to talk about it, and there needs to be a change because we can't go on like this anymore.
Treat this as a conversation.
You cannot say that now. What makes a black person? Like how do you act black?
Hi, Leigh-Anne. Thanks for taking the time. I know it's late over in the UK, so...
That's alright. The industry needs to be more diverse because I don't see enough people that look like me. Since I've started speaking out, my fans have been amazing. But not everyone has been quite so supportive.
What about Little Mix? All jumping on your little virtue signalling bandwagon. Bullshit!
Especially since news of the documentary hit the press.
Wanted to show yourself to a little BLM site.
Social media is so toxic. Like, it does my head in. There's already 2 types of criticism. I see that this woman who has made millions from dancing in her pants wants to jump on the victim bandwagon. This is obviously going to be some people's reaction because they do not want to understand racism. They don't care about racism. They never have and they never will. And that is one type of person. I'm not doing it for people like that. It's not going to change them. I'm not going to change her mindset. She's made up already. But then there's also a lot of criticism about me being light-skinned from the black community, and that hurts more.
Mix
Why not a
siya
full
no,
black
pero di
person
siya ingon na
confused?
sing full black.
Maybe should have used someone who was a
mix
partly
na siya.
white person, which is
Mestiza
white
nga
skin,
siya.
I don't know, just a full.
Hindi talaga siya maitim. Morena.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to read. Wanting to do something good and then seeing or like hearing that there's been a massive uproar because I'm not actually fully black, and it's like you start thinking, like, am I the right person
Ina-feel
for
din
this?
niya,
Like,
na ano din niya yung mga
my
ano
experience is just not
kahit
valid.
ano siya mix.
Because I'm a bit
Na ano
lighter.
din niya yung
kahit mix siya ba?
Mix lang
Bit
siya.
heavy, man.
Inano, sinama din
So,
siya.
kailangan talaga black talaga yung mag... Okay lang din naman na ano.
Kailangan ba talagang mag-suffer nila sa kulay? Diyos ko nila, oy. Grabe
I've
naman
not
na.
dealt with these kind of comments before.
Environment, ay.
They're much more personal than I
Grabe
thought.
naman
Toxic,
ka-toxic.
sobrang toxic
And it's really
talaga
got to
yung
me.
social
Ba yan?
media. Grabe
Now I'm
na yung
questioning,
ano.
am I the right person to make this film? However, what I've experienced is nothing compared to what some black people in the public eye have to deal with.
Kasi may ano
Like
kasi si
MP
Leigh-Anne,
Don
may
Butler.
yung kumbaga may power siya kasi
Oo, that's why nag-ano siya.
ano din siya. Hindi dahil sa
She suffered horrendous
ano,
abuse as a result of standing up for non-white people in the UK.
Para maano nga, ma-aware yung
ma-aware
mga
nga
tao.
yung
got in
mga
touch,
tao
and
kasi
I'm
ang
meeting
dami
her in a
na
local
kasi
cafe in
hindi ko
her Brent
talaga mag-gets
constituency.
bakit nag-ano pa sila na light skin naman siya, so bakit so, parang wala siyang karapatan na mag ano.
This is actually where I'm probably going to have some surgery.
Siya na nga nag ano para sa mga black talaga na
Nag-voice out nga siya.
siya na nga yung nag-voice out.
Wow. So, and I was getting calls at
Kasi
3 o'clock
naano
in
din
the
naman
morning,
niya kasi kahit mix siya.
answer phone messages.
Oh, nasasaktan din siya.
Nasasaktan
Kasi may
din
blood
siya.
siya na
May blood
black.
siya.
And
Oo.
one day I turned up and my staff had bought themselves a scab vest.
Ganun.
Oh my god.
You know, it's so mad. Like, obviously being in the pop industry and like opening myself up to scrutiny, like social media trolls, whatever. The level that you face is like, how do you deal with that?
So first of all, I'm going to say well done. Like, well done for actually speaking out.
and deciding that you're not going to keep quiet. You know, you've used your
platform and your privilege to do that.
Oo.
Siya na ngayon nag-represent sa mga black. Siya na ngayon nag-represent.
Siya pang masama.
But how do you cope? It depends on the day, right? Like
Sino kaya nag-comment nun? Black kaya siya or white?
Siyempre white
and then some
siguro.
days you think, right, okay, I'm going to educate you in terms of what you're doing. People are just blatant racist. If they had something to offer, they wouldn't want to try and take you down.
Yeah.
Or try and criticize you.
I just feel like I've kind of, like my heart is on the line now, and there's no going back, and it's like, I'm almost scared.
Don't get me wrong, it is scary, but you just got to remember all the lives that you're changing. You got to remember all the young women that are looking up to you, thinking, oh my gosh, she's spoken out. So everyone needs to sort of ask themselves, when the history book's written, what's going to be said beside your name?
Yeah.
Wag na ako na po siya, naraya na po siya, o ka naman ko.
I can't believe what Dawn's been through. She's reminded me how serious things can get for people in the spotlight, but totally inspired me to carry on. No matter what happens, I'm going to keep speaking out.
So I'm on my way to go and meet the lovely ladies that I met at the march.
At a march.
So why are you girls here today?
They were so interesting. We had such a good conversation. And little did I know they actually have their own podcast called The Chili Trio.
Today, the girls have invited me to be a guest on their podcast.
Then, what was the reaction ka ha?
Lightheaded. Don't know why. They talked about how important it is for me to educate myself. I just hope what I've learnt so far will show them I'm really serious about inspiring change.
So to touch on quite a sensitive topic as well, is like colorism. Black women, dark-skinned women, if I'm being brutally honest, are not seen as physically attractive.
Black girl.
Yeah.
Like,
Or you're not as loud.
There's so much pressure, and I feel it as a lighter skinned woman, so I can't even imagine how it feels for you girls. Like,
to be honest, the only person of my tone that I've seen on screen in the UK is Alexander Burke, and that's pretty much it. If I'm being honest,
I couldn't name you one dark skinned, really successful artist in the UK. A female artist in the UK. There isn't.
What do you feel like you can do to encourage girls like me to keep trying to get our way in the industry?
I would say just don't let your colour hold you back. Like, you might not see many girls look like you right now, but whatever you do, like, you can't, you have to just keep going. You have to believe, and you have to just go for it.
I don't know, it's, these conversations are so hard to have because it's like a back and forth and a back and forth. We're moving forward, but at the same time, how are we moving forward if nothing has actually physically changed? Because I haven't seen really much change in any legislation. I haven't really seen any change in like workplaces. All I've really seen realistically is a lot of conversations.
Yeah, like lots of brands, it's like they'll start reposting the black squares. They were saying Black Lives Matter.
That was the easy way.
But the real question is, how much does it matter? How many black people do you have in senior positions within your organisation? You know?
It really is the guys at the top that I'm onto. It's never the people who, like yourself, you do have a platform, of course, but you're also controlled to an extent on what you can do. So do you feel, sorry to put you on the spot, you know, do you feel now you might have the confidence to have a conversation with those who are part of your record label? What's management really doing to emphasise that Black Lives Matter and we've got these issues?
Yeah, so our label kind of helped us post Black Lives Matter charities and like ways that people can get involved. But I mean, that was when the movement was a bit more, so I feel like people could definitely do more.
Do you see much job roles for people that look like yourself?
No.
Superior.
At least you're straight honest about it, is it?
I walk into work and
There's no black
people, and that has been that way for my whole career. Like, I just haven't noticed it. It's my normal. Hearing Mary speak got me thinking. I'm like, well, it was so right. Like,
I do have the
Grabe,
power
no?
to demand change from the people that work with me. So I feel like what I might do is maybe send like an email to everyone and see if we can kind of have a meeting and talk about how we can move forward with this and see if there's anything that we can do to make some sort of a change here.
Hey.
I'm reaching out to my own management team, but I also want to see what the people right at the top of my label are doing. I don't really know who to approach at the label to sort of get into this conversation about diversity with, but yeah, so you've got the head of Sony Music who I could potentially try and meet with, let them hear
Yung
my
aso sa likod
thoughts
ha,
and
hindi yung
feelings
aso ni
firsthand.
Leigh-Anne. Cute,
So I
cute
feel
no?
like if there was more people that looked like me on my team, I would not have felt more as alone. Like, instead of thinking this was all in my head, like maybe I would have been speaking to people that actually understood it. Like, my label always had my back, so I feel like they'll be happy to try and find some sort of a solution for this. Right. Tonight, us girls are getting together online for a songwriting session.
For songwriting session.
So I'm just going to have a little dash of wine, a bit of Dutch courage before the Zoom session. Don't tell anyone. Right. There she is. Hi, you okay? This is weird, man. How many months has it been? Because of lockdown, this is the longest we've ever gone without seeing each other. I miss them. What about something like something, but I'll try to forget. Next to you, I'm wearing bulletproof vest, but I'm okay. I love that. We did it!
Sila
Yeah,
talaga yung
nice.
nagsusulat ng mga kanta nila, no?
No?
Next to you, I'm wearing
Nag-ano sila, nag-zoom sila para mag-ano ng kanta.
Compose ng kanta. Grabe.
I've had a response from the record label, but it wasn't quite what I expected. I wanted to meet with the head of Sony Music. Instead, they've put forward a director of marketing who happens to be another black woman, someone I've never met before.
It is almost like, okay, well let's put
two black women lagi.
Two black women
in room.
Two black women in a room to solve the issue of racism.
Black ragya pa nang gipamit sa iya hapon. Sa dako-dako sa
I
Sony
feel
Music.
like a lot of people are very scared about saying the wrong thing, but
For me,
I just think it was really important for me to speak to somebody at the top of the label to make sure that there's actually change happening and to make sure that something is going to be enforced. But also, like, I have to respect that being on camera and like some people are scared to slip up and to say the wrong thing, and I think because like this is very new, isn't it? This is very sensitive, but I'm so sick of people seeing it as, oh, can't say that, better not say that. Like, come on, let's just do it. There's a problem, let's address it. Let's all address it together. Well, that's me dropped from the label. I do feel like I've hit a bit of a wall just because this is something that's so important.
May mga
so
ano pa.
important.
Ang
You
laki ng ulo.
gotta take action. I wanted people to
Ano
see
na siya, mayaman na
people
siya.
making change.
Pero hindi pa din
I'm going to
exempted
push back
yun.
with the label to
Kasi
make sure I
black.
meet with more of the right people.
Talaga naman. Makapag-discriminate tong mga taong to.
When I do get to meet
Salamat
with
na
our
nga
record
sila at naging
label,
puti
I want one of
sila.
the girls there with me
Tas
to show
mga
how
ano pa ng
important this
itim.
is to all of us.
Diyos ko.
Okay.
Jade is my absolute rock.
Jade is
And
my
after nearly a
absolute
decade
rock.
in the band together, I think of her more like a sister.
I've already started on
Si, nag-jam sila.
One Star Martini. Edamame beans.
Ooh.
If it's so mad how much can happen within like the space of, well, like 6 months. Like it's just been mad.
It's like one thing after the other, isn't it?
Honestly, our whole Little Mix life, we're so in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
we have been in a bubble, I think.
Massively.
And now that's kind of like burst.
Oh my god.
Like,
and interestingly, it's not until this whole BLM movement's happened, because you know, like, my mum's dark-skinned.
Yeah.
Also on my own journey of sort of accepting myself, because my granddad for me, he was Arab and Muslim. He was from Yemen. My grandma was from Egypt. And it was only my granddad really who was so proud to be Arab and Yemeni, and he would cook Yemeni food, and I used to go to Muslim school on the weekends because he wanted me to learn Arabic. You know, I was 30 when my granddad died, and I feel like when he passed away, that just sort of just evaporated, really.
wow. I've never really heard you speak about this.
No.
Why did you feel like you had to kind of shy away a little bit? Like,
I think growing up in a small town up north, and I was always seen as like the token darkie, which is the expression that was always used to describe us. I remember I went to school. I mean, I used to get pinned in the toilets. I'd have like bleach powder thrown on us. I'd have like bindi marks again, which is so ridiculous because one, I'm Arab, so why put a bindi on his forehead? Do you know what I mean? And then at 18, put in the group, moved to London. And all of a sudden, I became white passing. And a couple of people said it to us, and I was like, "What does white passing mean?" When you look white, and I was like,
yeah.
I'd never been told that
Because you
before.
hadn't come from like,
no,
from that, 'cause
not
you were
at
the only
all.
one really of colour. Yeah,
I, I came to London, you know, at 18 years old. I'd never been really taught much about racism or white privilege or light skin privilege. But I knew that being white meant you had an easier ride. Therefore, if you see me as white, I'm not going to stand up and you know, scream in your face that I'm not, because I know that there's privilege that comes to that. But I do feel quite guilty that I spent so long not talking about it.
Yeah. Basically, our whole Little Mix life was about fitting in.
Yeah.
And trying to just fit into this perfect pop world.
Yeah, and I remember for ages we both wanted nose jobs, which is actually
what? It's insane. Yeah, and trying to just fit into this perfect pop world.
Yeah, and I remember for ages we both wanted nose jobs.
I remember for ages we both wanted nose jobs. Gusto sila magpaano ng ilong.
It's insane. No, please. It's so ridiculous. But that stemmed from our first magazine shoot, like photo shoot. And there I was with my whole face like completely photoshopped. My nose had changed. And from that moment, I thought, oh my god, like to be beautiful and glamorous, you know, you have to uphold this image of.
Buti na lang talaga di nagpa-ano si Jade ng ilong. Buti na lang talaga di sila nagpa-ano. Normal lang talaga yung ano.
Kasi kung lumala pa yung insecurities nila na kasi talaga sa mga bullied people ay na ano sa kanila. Diyos ko.
I think it's just about having that conversation.
Grabe talaga ang influence nila na makaano.
With our team and just making them know that this is a problem.
Because I think as well in the pop industry, people do not want to hear young women, especially young women of colour, talking about social issues. And I think a lot of that is out of fear because they know the influence that we have on our young fan base. Like we are powerful, and I think for years we were taught that opinion didn't matter. When in reality, I do actually feel like that was out of fear of knowing the influence that we can have on young people. So what you want to do?
Yeah.
Would you come to a meeting?
Agree talaga si ano.
Nakarelate din kasi siya.
Oo. Kasi ano din siya, dark skin.
Yung mama niya.
Pagkano din yung skin niya.
May black din daw. Black din daw ang mama niya na may blood ng black. May karamay na si Leigh-Anne.
Karamay si Leigh-Anne.
When we're not away on tour, my whole family gets together nearly every week for Sunday lunch. Hello.
Hello, sister.
Hello, sister.
How are you, Sean? I like that shirt.
Me and my sisters, Sarah and Sean, are really close and have been super supportive to each other, especially this summer.
Oh my gosh. Sarah, are you feeding a whole country with that?
Ay, feeding girl ka.
Grabe.
The whole of
Ang
Jamaica.
daming dala kasi.
Every time
Okay lang yung dad nila, no?
we have come over, we end up doing everything, and she just sits there, does nothing. Yeah.
I was saying when I'm like this, fragile, I feel like I just want to cuddle.
There you go.
God, Mum's so cold, isn't she? Jeez. Literally.
Very sympathy, self-inflicted.
Black talaga sila, no? Kasi yung kapatid niya. Ang kapatid ba yun? Or ano niya?
Kapatid niya yung babae.
Niece niya yung niece. Nephew pala.
My nieces and nephews motivate me even more to fight for a better world.
Pamangkin talaga niya mga badlongon, Diyos ko Lord.
But it's definitely not proven to be easy.
Ang dami na niyang pamangkin na. Tapos may baby na siya ngayon.
Dalawang pamangkin niya.
The Labour have come back and said they don't want to have a meeting with me and Jade because they don't want to be on camera.
Why do they commit to it then?
But this is the thing. What kind of nonsense?
An establishment of that size should be able to have someone that could have come forward to be filmed in order for it to go ahead. But they're choosing to not send anybody.
It's frustrating because it's not about like catching anyone out. I wanted people to see my label leading by example and like actually having these conversations like on screen. That's why I'm doing this. It's frustrating, I think. It's just really frustrating. It's like I could really do something to make a change.
Don't even let it like defeat you. I am disappointed because I really wanted to show people that we are standing shoulder to shoulder with this. But I still will be following up and I will be having this conversation. I've managed to get 3 people from my label to speak to me on the phone.
But do we have that figure, like, for the whole of Sony? You were saying, oh, like, it is diverse, but it's nowhere near what it should be. At all, anywhere where it should be.
They've told me about the work they've done to increase black representation at the company, like paid internships and donating $100 million globally to tackle discrimination and equal rights. What I really want to ask them about is our team at the label that Little Mix work with.
Like even like coming into like meetings and or like doing shoots and things like that, it is always predominantly white, always, without a question. For the last 10 years, I do feel like I was so conditioned to it for so many years, but the past couple of months, I'm like, this is not right. And it clicks so much more now and makes me feel uncomfortable because I just don't understand why that's the way it is. It shouldn't be like that.
So, however we agreed to work together moving forward, I know that I have the backing of the band.
Yeah. Well, I just know for a fact that they are 100% behind me. Like, our music is inspired by black culture. So, like, why wouldn't we? Like, I don't want the next girl in pop to come up and ever feel like how I felt.
Hindi na pala.
Bye! Thank you, bye.
Oh, viewer.
They've really listened to everything I've said and they've said that they're going to start putting forward more black creators for us to work with. Black creative companies, black photographers, black videographers. A lot of the time, like when you have these conversations, like sometimes things don't always get followed through. But one thing I do know is that I'm going to keep pushing. Like, it's not a question anymore. Like, it has to happen. And when I set my mind to something...
Dito ba?
You can't turn away from it anymore.
And I feel like there are so many other aspects to my world that I now need to address. The problem doesn't just lay within my label. It's management, glam teams, touring. There is a lot of work to be done. A couple of years from now, like I want to be able to walk into work, regardless of what I'm doing, and see
people of color.
Yeah.
I don't want it to just be a black square. I don't want it to just be, oh yeah, we'll think about it and we'll try. Can't just keep ignoring this flipping issue.
Flip
This
and
is just the
issue
beginning.
mga flip.
I'm a fighter.
I'm a fighter and
And
that's
that's
exactly
what
what
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to do. Yes.
Ganyan, laban lang, Leigh-Anne.
Leigh-Anne is now launching an foundation with Andre and your sisters.
Nagawa talaga sila ng organization.
See if there's any way that you can get involved with people donating or whatever you need me to do.
That's whatever you need me to do.
Do you know what? This is making me feel so good. Like there's so many people that just want to be involved and like help. This is really exciting.
Congrats sa organisasyon nila. Sana maging successful kasi kawawa din yung tao lang. Hindi naman sila mga black. Hindi naman sila kung ano lang.
Sana maging mas maraming mag-donate sa foundation nila.
Hindi lang sa ganyan. Sana yung mga tao ba maging fair ba? Yung mga white people ba? Sana hindi na nyo ibulig yung mga black kasi.
Huwag niyong i-discriminate kasi tao lang din naman sila.
Sasaktan din sila, kawawa sila guys.
Kaya stop
sa amin dito no, hindi ganyan sa Philippines kasi hindi nagbabase sa kulay kasi nagbabase kami dito sa utak, sa puso. Walang kulay-kulay. Paano naman ang kaputian mo kung wala ka dito?
Tapos wala ka pang
puso.
Sobrang
wala, useless ka lang. Walang kulay-kulay dito kung
kung okay ka, kung gaan, kung paano mo itrato yung tao. Yun din yung
kasi kung pakitaan ka ng pangit, pakitaan mo ng pangit. Pero kung maganda naman ang pinakita sa'yo, why not, diba? Hindi ka naman ba't ka naman ang sinanira ng buhay ng tao? Kulay lang.
Stop discriminate.
Ganyan.
Huwag niyong i-discriminate yung mga
kung kayo, nasa kalagayan, ano kayong mafe-feel nyo? Sakit. Para kayong depressed, ha? Kawawa nga siya kasi buntis pa naman siya niyan. Talagang naging emotional siya ba? Kawawa din naman siya sa na-experience niya, yung ma-feel na invisible.
Oo, yung sa pa lang yun, sa mga bago pa lang sila.
Hindi yun basta-basta ng mga
tapos parang late na ng mga fans, yung nag-stick up na siya about sa ganyan.
Late na, kasi pinapanigan nila yung puti lang lahat, puti. Kung naging puti lang siya, hindi naman siya,
Pero mas gusto ko yung kulay ni Leigh-Anne.
Oo, ganda.
Ganda kaya yung kulay ni Leigh-Anne.
Ganda pa ng katawan, ganda pa ng boses
Tapos may maganda pa yung puso.
May maputi nga dyan, ang laki naman ng katawan, Ano ba? Wala yan sa
Wala
yan sa kulay. Kaya guys, huwag kayong mag-discriminate kaya love lang tayo lahat dyan.
Sobrang nakakaano naman yung, doon talaga ako natouch sa yung sa parang naging invisible siya sa ng mga fans niya. Naging siya.
So guys, yun. Nakakaiyak yung kwento niya. Promise. Hindi mo
Sinipon talaga kami. Sinipon din siya.
Parang kumain kami ng sili guys. Yun bang pagkatapos mong kumain, sinisipon ka. Diyos ko.
Nakakaano lang din naman kasi.
So guys, napuyat kami doon.
Kami doon. Na-stress
parang nawala talaga kami doon guys. Nakakaiyak yung kwento niya. So, keep on watching guys. Sana manood kayo palagi sa aming vlog. Marami pa kami panonoorin ng mga nila.
Kwento nila. Tapos music nila. Tapos
lahat.
Sa papanoorin natin.
Talaga guys. May mga trailers. Baka may kayo dyan. Comment lang. Suggest. At panonoorin namin yan later. One by one. And we're going to say goodbye.
Goodbye na guys.
Bye guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Bye bye.